our developing story this morning on SportsCenter. Our Adrian Wojanowski reporting there's a meeting between LeBron James' agent and the 76ers today in Los Angeles. Philly ownership and Brett Brown expected to lead that meeting. Paul George staying in OKC, not going to LA. LeBron crossing all his T's and dotting his I's and going through the process. The Sixers certainly, see what I did there? The Sixers certainly chasing LeBron. And the reason he'd be interested in Philly,
sure,
I mean, revolves around that young nucleus of talent. You got Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, and on and on and on. The Sixers have roughly $26 million in projected cap space. Could relatively be easy for them to make enough moves to clear up space to sign LeBron. Our Bobby Marks did it on the board over there a few minutes ago. Joel Embiid certainly would love it. Tweeting this yesterday, sending a message out there. The Lakers are forever going to be Kobe's and Magic's team. Process that little message to LeBron. You really want to go there and do that? You need to come here to the city of brotherly love.
It's a big party in Oklahoma City tonight. Russell Westbrook throwing a party. About 500 people have been invited. The big invited guest is Paul George.
Their focus in Oklahoma City is to get him committed before this night ends.
He walked on stage just a few minutes ago.
If y'all didn't quite get it, let me say it again. I'm here to stay.
Paul George has agreed to a 4-year, $137 million max contract.
This is basically him giving a giant hug to Oklahoma City. I am stunned.
Two players in their primes, both grew up in Southern California, both grew up Laker fans, and here they are planting their flag in the middle of America. It is a massive achievement.
So Brian Windhorst saying there that he was stunned, not at the fact that George decided to stay in Oklahoma City, something that's been in the works potentially for a while, but by the type, very unusual contract that he signed, which he has an option after his 3rd year. He could stay there for as long as 7 years and make well over $200 million.
Yes.
Woo! Okay, so the Thunder offense, very good when George, Russell Westbrook, and Melo were all on the floor last year. When Melo went off the floor, though, Westbrook and George really played lights out, and that's efficiency that's nearly 10 points higher than when all 3 guys are on the court. So it's been a big night of celebrating as we're joined by ESPN Thunder reporter Royce Young. That party was planned by the team. They went all out. So cool. Nas was even performing. Can you put into perspective what kind of coup this was for Sam Presti and the front office?
Yeah, Hannah, this is a plan in action and a plan that came to fruition because this was a year-long thing for the Thunder. And it was a struggle at times. It was risky. It was a gamble. You know, they put a lot on the line when they made basically a year ago to today the trade for Paul George, sending 2 players to the Indiana Pacers, 2 good young players that the Thunder had controllable under contract. But they did it for the opportunity to hopefully convince Paul George somehow, some way, to not choose the Los Angeles Lakers, to not choose somebody else, but to remain with the Oklahoma City Thunder. And they did that not only for just another season, but for 3, maybe 4 years. So, you know, for the Thunder, this is what they hoped for. This is what they dreamed for. They felt like all along they were developing a strong connection with Paul George. They thought they could get here. And when it started to really build a few weeks ago, and they started kind of planning this party, they had a good idea. They might have something to celebrate as free agency opened.
And this is a franchise that lost the guy who became this year's NBA MVP, James Harden. They also lost the back-to-back finals MVP, Kevin Durant. So what has been the early reaction around Oklahoma City to George staying?
Yeah, Hannah, what it really feels like to a lot of people in Oklahoma City and kind of talking to people within the organization, outside the organization, is, you know, obviously winning a championship, that is the pinnacle for any franchise. But for people in Oklahoma City that really kind of felt a level of, you know, just complete depression over the fact that Kevin Durant decided to leave, that he decided to take off and go west and choose someone else. For Paul George to decide to do what he did, this is kind of an achievement for a lot of people in Oklahoma City, that this is the way it went for them. And, you know, you talk about the Thunder, and you mentioned the Harden trade. Kevin Durant, you know, their legacy has often been what if, what it could have been. And now there's a lot of pride talking to people in the front office about the fact that some of their legacy now is that they're a small market that kind of shattered a glass ceiling, that they were able to do something that a lot of other franchises haven't been able to do in their position.
Yeah, when you think, hey, we beat out the big bad LA Lakers, so we got this guy to stay here. I mean, there's something special here. But then you mentioned spinning it forward here and talking about the playoffs and the expectations. Certainly, this team was disappointing last year with that early loss in the playoffs. They have 11 players locked up. George is coming back. Is there anything else they can do this offseason to do better in the playoffs next year?
Well, they still have their taxpayer mid-level, and it's a little bit unlikely that they might use it just based on their current salary structure. But what the Thunder do have right now, Hannah, is they have a roadmap, and that's something that they have not had over the last few years. They've basically just kind of been season by season trying to piece it together because this guy's going to be a free agent, that guy's going to be a free agent. They don't know what the future is going to look like. Now they have Russell Westbrook, Paul George, Steven Adams, all in the primes of their career, and they have a good idea of what they can do to build a team around it. There's been a lot of conversation about the payroll and the tax that the Thunder are headed for. The Thunder can start trimming on that. They can figure out ways to kind of work around that because you know that when they sat down and talked with Paul George, he endorsed any plan that they're going to embark on this summer. So if that means something happens with Carmelo Anthony to soften some of the blow on the tax implications, it's not as if Paul George is going to be completely caught off guard with that.
Wow, yeah, he's making a cool $28 million, but 11 players locked in and much reason to celebrate. Royce, we always appreciate talking to you. Thanks.